Hi everybody, it's Brian here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So today I've got a special treat for you. I'm joined by Joseph Walter from ghostpixels.com, who we've been collaborating with for a number of weeks now. And today I decided to invite him onto this channel for this particular video to talk to you a little bit about adding textures to designs. And he's got a real special treat for you. And with that said, I'm going to pass the baton on to Joseph so they can introduce himself. Hi, Joseph. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you, Brian. Glad to be here.
So maybe you'd like to let my followers know a little bit about yourself and what you're all about.
Yeah, so I've been designing professionally for about 20 years now. I've designed as a graphic designer, web designer, UX designer. And then really a side project of mine is when I would create designs, I realized that I was creating the same, textures from scratch. And I realized, wait, let me see if I can't share these with other designers. So that's when I started my side project of Ghostly Pixels, so I can, share the textures that I was using in my designs with other designers.
That's fantastic. So how long has the website been active?
Yeah, it's been up for about 7 or 8 years.
So I imagine you've got quite a number of designs in your catalog there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and it's really, a side passion project to be able to create textures and fonts for other designers.
Fantastic. That's amazing. So I understand today you want to basically take us through a design process in terms of adding one of your textures to a particular design.
Exactly. Yeah. So really, whether it's any kind of graphic design project, if you're working on a poster, a flyer, a logo, a T-shirt, really adding any kind of texture to it can, just really give it can help it stand out, right? You can kind of give it a more authentic, appearance, perhaps vintage, if that's the look you're going for.
Yeah, maybe like a little stressed out look too as well.
Exactly. Yeah. A little distress to it, to kind of give it the appearance, that perhaps the T-shirt's been worn for many years.
Right. Okay, so if you're all set and you'd like to share your screen with us and take us through the process, that would be brilliant.
Excellent. All right. Okay, sharing my screen here.
Fantastic.
So really what I have here, what I've done so far is I've only added one layer. So everything I'm sharing on my screen is in Photoshop.
Okay.
And I've only added one layer of text so far. So we're really starting from there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a folder, and I can give that folder any name I wish. I'll call it texture. And then I'm going to click and drag my text into this folder right here.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's really a number of different ways to add a texture in Photoshop. What I'm going to be sharing today is really the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to grab one of these textures here and just drag it from my desktop. And this would work the same way whether you're on a PC or on a Mac. So I'm on a Mac here. But I can just click and drag it into Photoshop, and it's going to load that texture right on my design. And so you can see here, I'll zoom out a little bit. The texture is very high resolution, so I'm actually going to need to scale it down a bit.
Yeah.
And the texture itself is colored dark gray. And when it's in a position, I can move it around. I can click and drag it. And when it's in a position, that looks good to me, I can just click the check mark to accept that position.
Okay.
And really right now, we have a great texture on top of the rest of the design, but what we want to do is subtract that texture from the white text. So it looks like, if the text were ink printed on a T-shirt, we want it to look like that text is worn, is distressed.
Right.
So now if I double click on the layer, it's going to open the layer style palette. Mm-hmm. And I only have to do two things on the screen. I have to select from knockout here. It's set to none by default. I want to set it to shallow. Okay. So that's going to apply the knockout effect to everything within my folder, which is, of course, just the one text layer. And then the second step is fill opacity. I need to drop to 0. So now when I click OK, you can see that the texture has been applied only to the white text. And if I hide the background, here you can see, so with the way Photoshop works, if you see the checkered background, that means you're looking at transparency.
Right.
So you can see that transparency showing through. And I could add another texture if I want to add just a little bit more distressed. I'll grab another one, click and drag it on. And I can do all the same steps all over again. I'll zoom out, scale it down a bit to get a position that I like. I'll zoom back in. I'll double click on the layer, knock out to shallow, fill opacity to 0. And then that second texture layer is also applying to the text. So I can then toggle the visibility to show and hide it. And then of course the same thing here. If I hide the background, then you can see it's truly transparent. So I could take this right here, I could export it as a PNG, and then go ahead and upload it right into, let's say, Redbubble.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's ready to go with the vintage look and feel applied to the design. So there you have it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you know what, to be very honest with you, it's just goes to highlight the versatility of Photoshop. I've got to actually admit, watching you do this is not the way that I go about in terms of adding textures to my designs. I go about it totally, completely different from what you've just shown. And I have to admit, this is really amazing, because what I usually do is I actually, impose the texture on top of it. Then I control click on the icon of the layer so that it makes a selection. And then I click on the text layer after I've rasterized it and deleted it. Now, the way that you've shown it, I've got to admit, actually gives a little bit more control to what you're doing, even in terms of adding on other textures, which is absolutely brilliant. So, excuse me, from my point of view, this is the brilliant thing about actually, interacting with other people, collaborating with other designers, and learning different ways about going to do things, because, you may have your particular mindset on doing it one way, and somebody comes up and shows you, well, that works good, but have you considered doing it this way? And it's just sort of like, a window, a door has been opened to another possible tool that you can utilize when you're using Photoshop. So well done, brilliant for that. I do have a question for you, because a number of my followers tend to use Photopea as opposed to Photoshop when they are actually doing their graphic designs. Will this actually work on Photopea too as well?
Yes. Yep. The steps might be slightly different, but absolutely you can apply textures to your designs in Photopea as well.
Fantastic.
No,
I already know the answer to this, but for those of those viewers who are actually new to the channel and new to this website, I'm assuming you can actually do this with graphic clip arts and whatnot too as well. Yes.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Really, any time you want to apply any knockout effect in let's say Photoshop, right? Mm-hmm. All you have to do is have that knockout effect above the layer you want to subtract from, and it just applies. And like you mentioned, there's so many different ways to do it. With this with this way, it's non-destructive. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I'm free to move and edit here. I'm shift clicking and moving my text around. Everything is adjustable. Can toggle visibility. So at any point you could come back if you let's say you added both layers and you decide later, hey, that's a little too much, I want to back off. You can just hide one and export again, and then you have less distress.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So again, this is a non-destructive way of adding the stress look to it, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. Now, when we were talking previously to the recording of this particular episode, you mentioned that you were going to offer something to the viewers who are watching this channel, or rather, who are watching this episode on this channel.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so if you go to ghostlypixels.com/Brian, I have a special link there where you can actually download all 10 textures that I was showing a minute ago here. So you can download all of those completely for free. Fantastic. And then go ahead and play around with them.
That's amazing. And I'll leave the link in the description field below, so anybody who's watching this episode can just click on it and visit. And obviously do take the opportunity of going through Joseph's website and seeing all that he has to offer. It's a fantastic, versatile website. And if, as a designer, if you're always looking for those really interesting, unique, creative type of textures to give that extra oomph to your particular designs, whether they're graphic or text-based, then you might want to give Joseph's website a look and go through it. And I'm sure that you'll find something that will fit the bill for whatever design that you're making. So thank you, Joseph. I really appreciate you taking the time today, sharing this this information with us, and showing us step by step how you go about using, like I said earlier, a new way for me to obviously create a distressed look in my t-shirt designs too as well. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we close off this episode?
Well, just thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me on. And it's always a pleasure to, like you said, there's so many different ways to do things. So I think it's always fun to learn a different way. And I'm sure plenty of your viewers have other ways to do it. So yeah, always fun to talk design.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, Joseph, thank you very much again for being on this show. Really appreciate you taking the time to show us. And, for those of you who have been watching this episode, please do take a look at Joseph's website. Go through it, download these free designs that he's putting up on offer, and put them to good use with your designs. But for today, that's all I've got. Be safe, be well, be creative. Bye for now.